I have done over 2,000 workouts over the course of my life, and these are the 6 most important lessons that I have learned. When I started, I was skinny, I was not very confident, I wasn't attracting women, and then building an aesthetic physique, getting in better shape, was the one thing that started to change my life for the better. And all the benefits you believe you're going to get are 100% true. Oh, but girls don't care about muscle. Okay, here's evidence that says otherwise. And by the way, if you want to check my credibility, how I got the number of 2,000, this is how I got it. Oh, but it says 1,900, not 2,000. Okay, this calculation that I did also doesn't even include so many days where I had multiple workouts, I had football practice, so I'm very confident that it's well over 2,000. So the first thing you have to understand is discipline is more important than motivation. I remember when I first started going to the gym. At first, I was super excited. I was motivated, right? I was ready to make a transformation and start going to the gym. And then all of a sudden, after 3 workouts, I was like, wow, this sucks. Like, my body hurts. I can barely get out of bed. I can barely walk. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go to the gym today. But how my football coach explained it to me and my teammates back in the day was that the gym is testing not only your physical capacity to push through adversity and do the hard work, but it's also testing your mental capacity. It's testing your ability to do the hard things even when you don't want to do them. So which guy are you going to be? Are you going to be the guy that feels the physical pain, that feels the mental pain, and then gives up because it hurts a little bit? Or are you going to be the guy who perseveres anyways? And also, something you must understand is that pain is a sign of growth. Think about it this way. The guy who never goes to the gym, who never feels the pain, he's not making any progress. Whereas the guy who endures the pain, who embraces it, who pushes through it, he's going to make progress in the end. He's going to be the guy who ends up actually getting much better. When you feel sore in the morning or after your workout, you can barely walk because you just hit heavy squats, like that's a good type of pain and that you should not run away from. So always ask yourself, are you going to fold under pressure? Are you going to be the guy who gives up, who quits just because things get a little hard? Or are you going to be the guy who stares into the face of adversity and brings on the challenge? The choice is yours. Number 2, you gotta have purpose. Ask yourself this question. Why are you going to the gym? Like, what's your reasoning for it? Because a lot of guys, they'll tell you, I wanna start going to the gym. I wanna start making progress. But then they can't tell you why. Do you wanna have more confidence? Do you want to attract women? Do you want to get in better shape? Like, what's your reasoning? Because the guy who has purpose, who knows not only what he's doing it, but why he's doing it, is always going to be in a better spot than the guy who does not. For example, when I first started lifting, it was because I wanted to train for football, because I was an athlete in high school and I wanted to be the best athlete that I could be. So having that purpose of wanting to be the best version of myself made it so easy to get consistent in the gym when I first started. And then after my first 2 years of lifting, by the time it was my junior year of high school, I knew that I wanted to play college football. So that pushed me to train even harder because I knew that I had to outwork the competition. I had to be training harder than everyone else. I had to be working harder to achieve my goals. Because if I didn't do it, if I didn't put in the work, I wasn't going to get where I wanted to get to. And then once I got to college, I started playing football. And after a couple years, guess what? I lost my purpose. I had no reason because, I'd achieved my goal. I was playing college football and I got in a relationship, got complacent, and I just lost all this purpose. And because of that, my fitness fell off. Like, this is what I looked like at the end of the relationship before I went through a breakup. And when I think back to the one spot where I messed up, it was because I didn't have purpose in that moment. I didn't have anything I was striving towards. I had no goals. And then after the breakup, I started posting on social media because I wanted to inspire young men to make a change. Not only inspire other people, but also document my journey. And that gave me good purpose to start posting, to start getting in shape. Because I knew not only was I accountable to myself, but also to all the people I was inspiring to make change. So why are you going to the gym? What's your reasoning? What's your purpose? Figure that out. Figure out what you want to achieve, set goals, because the guy who has purpose will always beat out the guy who does not. Number 3, progressive overload. To make gains in the gym, you can't just be showing up. At the start, Just showing up is great, and that's better than nothing. But you can't be the guy who just shows up. Eventually, it gets to the point where just showing up isn't enough. You have to not only be showing up, but also be making the most of the workout when you're actually there. Be pushing yourself, be working hard. Because back during my junior year of college, one of the reasons I stopped making progress, I hit a bit of a plateau, was because I stopped training hard. When I was showing up to the gym, I was just training till, I felt a little burn, doing the same weights every time, getting all comfortable. I was eating unhealthy food. I was not going to bed on time. I was not getting my 8 hours of sleep. And I didn't make progress, and I wondered why. I also show up to the gym all the time, and I see the same guys who have been going there for multiple years. And, no disrespect, because it's still a great thing they're going to the gym, and maybe their goal, isn't to make a ton of progress. Maybe they just want to live a healthy lifestyle. So there's, nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to be going to the gym, if you're showing up 4 days a week and you're going to be there for an hour, it's kind of a waste of time if you're not making progress. Like, you might as well make the most of it when you're there. So how do you do that? Well, you have to progressively overload. You have to, over time, be doing either more weight or doing more reps every single time you go into the gym. And not only be going hard in the gym, not only be focusing on that, but also on all the other little things. Because which guy do you think is going to make more progress? The guy who shows up to the gym and only really does that well, or the guy who goes to the gym, trains hard, and also gets his 8 hours of sleep, also eats clean, also focuses on the other little things that he can improve? Because sure, just showing up to the gym is going to get you progress in the start, but once you get more experienced, it's all the little things that are going to make the biggest difference. So you have to not only be consistently getting better in the gym, but also consistently be figuring out, what habits am I struggling with? What things are holding me back? And how can I improve those things? Because the guy who does the little things right will always absolutely crush the guy who cheats himself and does not do the little things right. Number 4, you gotta have the right plan. For every single person, their weight training goals are going to be different. There are some people who want to focus on powerlifting, on getting strong. There are some people who want to focus on training for a sport. There are some people who want to focus on building an aesthetic physique. If you're training for powerlifting, you're going to be doing low rep, high weight movements. If you're training for a sport, you're going to be doing a lot of explosive movements, a lot of power cleans, a lot of sprints, a lot of jumps. If you're training to build an aesthetic physique, you're going to be training mostly with hypertrophy to build muscle. When I first wanted to switch the focus of my training from athletics to building an aesthetic physique, I was still doing all the athletic training and wondered, why do I not look very great? But it's because I just didn't have the right plan. I wasn't doing the right things. So you have to figure out, okay, what's the purpose behind my training, like we talked about earlier, and then what routine is actually going to get me there? If you're more focused on powerlifting, if you're more focused on athleticism, you got to find a routine for that. But if you want to build an aesthetic physique, an aesthetic body, you need to be doing bodybuilding training, not strength training. And if that's your goal, to build an aesthetic V-taper physique, follow me on Instagram and DM me the word workout, and I will send you my routine for completely free so you can start getting on track and start building the right physique. Number 5, you got to understand the proper way to train. There were a few things that I was doing wrong in the early days that really harmed my progress. Instead of training with good form and doing the movements correctly, I was doing a lot of ego lifting, compromising my form and not doing things correctly just because I wanted to, look so strong to everyone else in the gym, so all the girls would look over. But when you train with good form, not only does it give you more gains, but it also decreases your risk of injury. Because a couple years ago, I actually injured my groin because I was ego lifting. And that one injury stopped my progress so much. So here are a few actionable tips you can take to make sure you're actually training in the right way. Number 1, control the weight down. When you're bench pressing, right, instead of just going as fast as possible, dropping the weight on yourself, be controlling it down slowly and then exploding up at the top. When you're in the gym, make sure you're actually taking the time to track your weights to make sure that you're making progress. Because if you just show up and you just lift with no actual plan and you're not tracking your weights, you're not gonna just remember every single weight you hit unless you have a photographic memory, right? You're not gonna remember all the lifts that you hit and make progressive overload. You have to actually track it. So here's a screenshot of what I do so you can kind of see how I track my weights. So every time, just record how many reps you do, the amount of weight that you do, and always focus on getting it a little bit higher the next time you're in the gym. And the next analogy to make sure you're making progress is what I like to call the bro analogy. The bro analogy is, simply put, if you show up to the gym, right, and you hit legs, and you find it hard to walk down the stairs after, that's probably a good sign. Or if you go to drive your car after hitting shoulders and you put your hand on the steering wheel and you're like, holy shit, my shoulders kind of hurt, that's a good sign. If you find that you're never ever being sore after your workouts, that you always feel like after you hit a heavy set of bench press, you could still hit the same weight for a few more reps, you're probably not training hard enough. So yeah, you should track your weights. You should, make sure you're actually making progress. But if for whatever reason you're not doing that, just look at, am I getting sore after my workout? Do I feel like I'm pushing myself? And number 6, you have to have accountability. One of the reasons I was able to get consistent in the gym so easily was because I played for a football team, because I had coaches who were holding me accountable to show up, because I had teammates who I didn't want to let down, because I had goals that I wanted to achieve. So the number one thing I would recommend if you are a young guy is go and join a sports team, go and join a club, go find other like-minded people that are going to hold you accountable. And if you're a bit older, maybe you're kind of past the point where you're in school and you can't join a sport team, at least set personal goals, at least set things that you're striving towards. Find a gym buddy that you can start going with. Take progress pictures every week to ensure you're actually making progress. And this is all stuff that you can do for completely free. But if you would like my help and you're willing to invest into yourself, I'm gonna link my coaching community in the description and you could join. And I would love to work with you and help you reach your goals and become the best version of yourself. More important than anything, have long-term thinking. Do not be the guy who has the mindset when he's going to the gym that I wanna make as much gains in the first 3 months as possible, because making progress takes time. You can't get caught up in things when you're not making progress and beat yourself up and quit. Instead, be the guy who has long-term thinking, who has the mindset that I'm going to start going to the gym and I'm never going to quit, because this is something that's going to improve my life for the long run. This is something that if I do 4 days a week is going to give me the biggest life boost. And when you're the guy who thinks long-term, you don't quit. You don't give up because you know that you are in it for the long run. So keep working hard and do not quit. I'll see you for the next video, bro.